Having purpose is great. Not only does it get you to where you want to get to, but it gets you there fast. Welcome to the session, Kay. How are you?
Great, Amit. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to have you here. So Kay's achieved amazing growth in the last 5 years, taking his business from almost zero to having five practices, which he's going to tell us about. So over to you, Kay. Tell us a bit more about your business and what kind of services you provide.
Right. So, in very simple terms, I run a chain of hair salons. The business is the first completely inclusive, that is gender and texture inclusive hair care company. We have large ambitions to grow the technology part of our business, educational part of our business. But yes, in the last 5 years, as you mentioned, we've gone from zero to four stores.
Amazing. And that is very good growth for plenty of business owners out there. It's really good performance. So tell us about some of the key principles that you've really worked well to help you achieve this growth.
Um, I think there are two core things. Obviously, there's finding a purpose in what I do, which is a principal motivating factor for me. Um, Trying to really hone in and understand why I want to do this project, why I wanted to do this project, and ultimately what it was going to, what the benefit was going to look like was super important to me. What keeps it going is discipline. Discipline that I've sort of had honed into me coming from the military home. My dad was in the military, having to stay focused, get things done properly. And if you didn't get them done properly, you had to do it all over again. So those are kind of the two fundamental things that are the core motivating factor, for my success
Amazing.
so far.
So kind of so purpose gets you started, discipline keeps you going, kind of an approach
Yes, yeah.
to drive you forward. Amazing. Now, discipline is a huge topic, and many people spend their entire lifetime trying to master a bit of discipline. We all know discipline gets you where you want to get to. But there's one area of discipline which I like to pick your brains on because I think plenty of the listeners out here are probably would be looking to help them in their world. That's around the discipline of doing the stuff that most people don't like doing. Because as Jim Rohn, one of the best thought leaders out there, ever said was successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And you've clearly taken that bit of theory on quite well, whether you've heard of that quote or not before. And you started
Yes.
doing the stuff that maybe other people are not willing to do, and you've brought it into your world and you're doing it. Can you tell us bit more about what's worked for you? How have you managed to keep doing the stuff that other people are not willing to do?
Yeah, no, that's an incredible sort of a piece of advice, and definitely one that I've heard before, and one that I've definitely sort of leaned into. I think for me personally, yes, discipline and doing the things that most people are not comfortable doing is one of the ways that you try to sort of set yourself apart by staying uncomfortable. You find that you get to achieve further than you actually expected that you would go, because yes, you're open to taking chances, taking risks, opening yourself up to opportunities. And that's entrepreneurship 101. If you're not willing to do that, then you probably shouldn't do it. You shouldn't be in the game. And a lot of it starts from internalizing. So doing the things within your own sphere of control, which I love, which is something that Stephen Covey sort of talked about. Taking control of the things within your sphere of control. I think it starts from whether or not you decide whether or not you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning rather than 7 a.m. in the morning to have a longer day, to get things done before other people get in. There's a sense of pride and a sense of joy when wake up through those mornings and you challenge yourself internally to get up and make those moves. And when you continue to make those moves and they become a habit, you realize just how much more, you have gained over time, by just having that 2 hours head start compared to traditional, or the usual way that you would sort of start your day. So that mentality is such a important thing to have when you're building anything. So once you secure that mentality, that initial, I'm going to get up at this time versus that time, for example, once you succeed at that, it's easier for you to then put that as an anchor to say, oh, well, I'm the same person that did this, I can do that. And that's sort of how, I use, that, the discipline within my, within in the small things within my own sort of laziness sometimes that, we all, would rather spend that additional whatever. But, it's just nice to, to challenge yourself to do something, and then successfully do it. That success allows you to want more of it, and it's important.
Yeah, so getting that head start gives you an extra 2 hours in your day to a certain extent, provided you go to bed at the same time, and puts you ahead of your competition or other people.
Yeah.
So you also seem to be somebody that's quite disciplined with their time as well. You don't faff around too much. Talk us through, how do you go about your day-to-day selecting priorities? Because to grow 4 branches in 5 years isn't something that every person who goes out there looking to set up a business does. But you've managed to do that. Clearly, you're making good use of your time. So what goes through your head as you're making decisions to make the best out of your time?
Again, I think once you're clear about your purpose, it's so much easier to get away from noise. A lot of it, one of the core things that we end up doing as entrepreneurs is we end up taking a lot more on than we can actually do, or we, point resources in the wrong direction, and those things, if they're not because, someone said this, or we thought this, or, we had an idea that we haven't stress tested and we put everything into it, all of these things, the nice to haves versus actually what is this going to do and what's the outcome for this. These are key important things to think about. Once you have a clear purpose and you know why you do what you do, and what you're supposed to do, it's so much easier to just be clear and focused on, putting the resource and time and doing the core things that allow the business to move in the right direction. So for me, I think it all stems from that very start point, because if you ask yourself the question, if you're about to take on something, have a meeting perhaps, or jump into a project, and you ask yourself, how does this serve our ultimate purpose? And the question is, and the answer is, it actually doesn't really. And you take even if you did it as a democratic vote, 51% to 49%. If it's 51% to 49%, there's your answer. You get on with it, and you move those things aside. But for me, it's that simple.
Amazing. Now, on that note, and you make it sound so simple, asking yourself before you step into that meeting, making that choice, spending that 1 hour doing so and so task, how is this going to serve my purpose? And I suppose once you got clarity on whether it does or doesn't, you either trash it or you go and do it, right? Quick question. We noticed you got an American accent, very apparent. I'm going to pick on that. What's it like doing business in America versus the UK? Just maybe one or two differences you've noticed.
Again, I think the American attitude is more of a can do. Let's go out and do it. Let's fail if we got to fail. There's a lot more risk, sort of. There's a lot more tolerance for risk, where the British mentality is a lot more risk averse. It's a lot more, less sort of stress test. Let's work this out. Let's do that. So I think that's a fundamental core difference in both nations in terms of the attitude towards business. So that's why you see that there's significantly a lot more sort of startup businesses that have succeeded, because there's more tolerance for that, and there's more, it's encouraged more. There are more people that are willing to back you on the back of that. Because ultimately you invest in the individual, and if you deeply believe and you're able to say, right, I will walk this journey to the very end. That's the core thing that people want to know, that that you not only have the resilience and the mental strength to see it through, but yeah, ultimately you have the brains and you're hungry to get it done. So where it's a lot more like, oh, are we sure, do we,
Right. So the Americans are a bit more, let's go for it, let's do it, let's take the risk and back ourselves. Whereas the
yeah,
British, from what you see, measured, stress test, look at this, get data, get research, and maybe within that, stumbling and losing opportunities as
yes,
time goes on. Okay,
yes.
we're running out of time, but there's one important question I want to ask you. Now, you said you attended the Goldman Sachs kind of crash course MBA program called 10,000 Businesses. And that's particularly close to me because I used to work there for 10 years, and knowing another business owner went and benefited from it is amazing. So what would you summarize in maybe a bullet pointed fashion, your top 2 to 3 learnings from that program that helps you achieve the successes you have?
Uh, I think I'm still going to be I'm still going to be unraveling a lot of the success over time, so you've caught me very early after, but the top 2, 3 things I would definitely say is one, is that you get an opportunity to discuss ideas with other business owners that are in your own lane. Vastly different industries, at different times, at different sort of parts of their journey, but you're all sat in the same room, and there's nothing like that feeling of knowing that you're not alone when you're on a journey. So that's number one. Number two is the ability to take a second and step out, knowing that as a leader, your job is to work on your business, not necessarily in your business. Yes, you can work in your business from time to time, but you are the sat nav. You direct where the company ultimately goes. If you're so far deep in, there's zero chance you're going to see what's happening, on the road ahead. Make sure that you're heading in the right direction in the map. So that's the second thing. And third is probably just the fact that you recognize that you have blind sides, and if you have blind sides, that could be the thing that ultimately kills your business.
Yeah.
So we had several tests we had to do, where you were asked several questions around, what your responsibilities were within the business, for example, and if you touched on more than 4 aspects of your business, that you were the final decision maker in those things, then you were not running an efficient business. So it opens your eyes to a lot of the things that you thought, oh, I had to do this, I have to be responsible for this, I have to do that, and start really thinking about how you're going to delegate and create a team that can successfully take you across the line, because that's ultimately what it takes. So yeah,
Amazing.
those are probably the 3 top things I would definitely say I got from 10,000 Small Business Program at Goldman Sachs. So it'll put me through at the side business school.
Fantastic. And I'm pretty sure more of those learnings are going to come to fruition as your journey continues.
Thank
But
you.
look out for opportunities. That was the first one, get an opportunity to run a business. And hey, look, that's a great place. Number 2, ability to take a step back and work on your business rather than in all the time. And finally, recognize that you shouldn't always be the only decision maker. Trusting and delegating and moving on is a huge part of it. Great stuff. Final question I want to squeeze in. Those next 2 years, the economic climate can look questionable, etc., etc., etc. All those external challenges are going to be there. But what about yourself? What will be your number 1 challenge you think you're going to have to overcome as an entrepreneur to keep growing and scaling and taking the business we want to take it?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question, Alan. I think, I think the biggest challenge we're going to have specifically in the UK and as a business leader, I'm definitely going to, have to continue to work on is employees, and your human capital, and how you sort of adjust to the new world order of the way the business is run and the way people want to be treated, and thinking about the culture of your business, and how you attract talent, retain talent, and be a more empathetic leader. Being a military man, military family, from a military family, the way that I was raised was, discipline and focus and stuff like that. But, that's not the way it's going to work for, for a lot of folks. So, you have to re-educate yourself about how you're going to approach things, and definitely think more from an empathetic position, and work on the culture of your business, of my
Amazing.
business. That's going to be my biggest sort of task over the next sort of 2 years.
Amazing. Well, Kate, you've been absolutely fantastic. So much wisdom you've shared. I'm pretty sure everyone listening to this video podcast is going to take away so much amazing. You've been amazing.
Fantastic.
Thanks a lot once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Alan. It's been a pleasure.